Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate you for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is the vault. We got Dr. Bay back, and we just wanted to pay homage, pay honor to someone that we know that has a lot of experience, has had big business, multi-million-dollar a year business, and just gone through a lot of things. And so he's our mentor for many different systems. And so we wanted to bring him on to talk about the importance of a system today. So we have him here, Dr. Bay, coming our way. Where are you calling from today, Dr. Bay? Peace and greetings. How you doing today?
I'm calling from a place called, um, I'm in South Carolina, and it's Bishopville.
Sounds like the middle of nowhere. So, how you doing today, Dr.
And
Bay?
I'm doing great and getting greater, just like you.
Thank you, thank you. Appreciate you. So, Dr. Bay, we definitely wanted to bring you on for a very important topic today, keeping it straight and to the point, which is systems. So, could you talk about the importance of a system, maybe what it is, and even the first system that your dad trains you in? Like, what is the system? What is a system?
A system is a group of energies working together in harmony to create or maintain a goal. In other words, everything that works and it works properly is in a system. Whether you're talking about the seasons of the year and when you can grow various things, or whether you're talking about a car that is in a system. They got a battery that does one thing, a transmission that does another thing, key that does another thing, or whether you're talking about yourself. You got a heart that does one thing, gonads that do another thing, lungs that do another thing, and so forth and so on. All of the things that actually work and cause things to be functional is a system, or in a system. That is, and to the degree that the system works in harmony with each other is to the degree that you can accomplish, or it can accomplish what is designed to do.
Okay, so let's talk about a what kind of system would it be? It would be uh it would be a systematizing things. When someone says you got to systematize it, when you say you got to systematize it, what does systematizing look like? The process of systematizing something.
It varies depending on what it is. You wouldn't do the same thing to systematize you that you would to systematize a car. So it depends on what the project is. That first, there has to be the thought concept, and then you got to get the knowledge necessary. And that's one of the major challenges, is having the accurate knowledge that you can demonstrate and use in the system.
Correct. Okay, so let's talk about the system of masterminding. We can talk about that publicly. It's in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Compare your thought process of systematizing a masterminding system and the importance of it, but doing so.
Well, masterminding is a system of literally collective consciousness and the powers there are involved in it. And it does not really matter whether it's on something righteous or unrighteous or good or bad or whatever you want to call it. The collective thought of more than one adds extra energy to the power that causes it to manifest itself in the universe. And so, whether it's my system or any other system, you know, that the people may use to do certain things. It's the collective consciousness, a group of people coming together, wanting to visualize accomplishing the same goal. And they may visualize it differently, but the fact that they're visualizing it adds strength and can cause it to produce itself much larger and faster than it would if you just did it by yourself.
Interesting. So when we talk about that, is the system based off of consistency?
Well, everything is tied into what we would call a time slot. However, it really depends on what it is. You know, having a baby, for an example, is involving a system from the time you're getting pregnant to the time it delivers. But there's a time period, and that time period is conceivably what they call 9 months. And in that 9-month period, you develop from the sperm and the egg all the way into having feet, legs, hands, and all the other glands and organs and tissues of the body.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's keep this on a business level with the masterminding. And could you elaborate more on maybe sometimes where you've done masterminding and it's worked for you in a business setting?
Well, it's interesting because in a business setting, and I think of a young lady that we used to mastermind, and she was always masterminding about having this nursing home for young kids, and there were about 12 or 13 of us in the mastermind group, and one of us, another young lady, asked us, so, well, and I guess it was about a month or two or maybe even longer into the program, she asked her, so, well, how's the project going? She said, oh, it's going great. She said, we remodeled the basement, we put a better fence around the house, and she said, what? She said, I saw you taking over one of these small schools, and I saw you having it structured and not your house. And guess what? I did too, and all the rest of us in the group said that's what we saw. And guess what? She manifested. She ended up manifesting one of these small schools and having it much larger than she even had an idea about at all. I did a similar thing with my home. Me and my wife and children used to mastermind about what type of house we wanted. And one day I'm out running around. I run into a person that was moving, and it was a beautiful house. And I go over and I talk to the people that were moving out of it. Really, I talked to their son first, and he said that he was moving them to Florida. And this was in the Chicago area, and I went inside and I saw that house, and it looked like everything we had talked about, as far as what the children wanted for their room and what I wanted to have in the house and what my wife had said she wanted. And so I said, what real estate you turned? They said, we haven't. Said, we're going to work on that. And I said, well, let me go and and I did. I went to the school where my wife was teaching, and I went to the private school where my students were going, my children were going to, and I brought them over there, and they went wild when they saw the house, because it had pretty much everything we had thought. And it was a house designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. And it was a wedding present, as I understand it, to the people that was living in it. And we didn't realize whether we could pay for that type of house or not. And the man quoted what he thought he was going to sell it to us for, but I was telling him that I didn't know if we were ready for that right now. And his wife came out, and we were still talking, and she said, "Well, no, what we'll do is let you pay us the note, and you don't have to go and borrow no money. And the house is paid for, and you can pay us, and we'll set up and that's what we did, and ended up with this gorgeous home. And I could go on the things that we've done. My business is another good example.
Well, let's slow down here. So when you do mastermind, are you to write it down? Are you to put it on paper? Are you to memorize something? What is the process of creating that systematized system of masterminding?
Well, I would say you write it down, although more so you visualize what the person is saying they want. And I don't know. See, I was trained a little bit backwards as far as most people are concerned, because my daddy didn't have me write nothing down, because it was private and sacred and secret and all that type of stuff. So I didn't write anything down. I just, when a person was talking, I visualize what they're saying they're going to do, and that's what I train them to do. When I'm talking, to visualize what I'm saying I'm going to do, and you can visualize it being better than they said they was going to do, and it can end up turning out as it did in the three major cases that I think about. It turned out being much better than what I had thought. Like my business, I was just looking for, because of the estate planning aspect of it, I wanted to have an office down on LaSalle Street, which is like the Wall Street of Chicago. And the back down there, and we were talking about some years ago, that was some expensive property. But I was just thinking about going and getting an office space. When I went down there, and a friend of mine told me about some space for rent, I didn't realize when I got there that they had this whole 5th floor for rent. And I took some of my mastermind members of my business with me. And when they got down there, they said, "Oh, I want this office over here is going to be mine, and I'm going to set this out here and all that." And when they told us the price, it was, but we went back and masterminded on it. And I went to the company that I was principally doing business with, and I told them the ridiculous price of renting that whole space, and that I was going to run. And they said, "Well, we'll cover it for you for 6 months, but you got to be able to do it, and you got to be able to come up with it." But you wouldn't believe how much bigger that was. It was at least 20 times larger than what I had pictured, but we were able to do it.
Now, when
So
you walk
it's
into these
visual.
situations, do you have to visualize guaranteed success? Is there a feeling you have to have, or do you just need the thought? When you visualize, do you visualize with feelings, or do you just visualize like, oh, I just need to see it with my thought, and so it is?
Well, in my case, analyze it from either one of those perspectives. I visualized probably the feeling more so of what it is and what it's going to be like when it happens.
Really? Okay, so you visualize feelings, not thoughts.
Right? It depends on what it is. It's just like this lady that was talking about this uh, 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 school, nursery school. I just visualized her getting one of these buildings, and I saw the kids and that type of thing. Being able to get a bunch of them, and her being able to get a bunch of people to help her run the school and all. And I didn't write it down, but that's what I saw. And obviously, listening at the other people, that's what they saw too.
Okay. Uh, well, okay, but then you said that you visualize the feeling, not just the thought of something then.
Yeah, I visualized it happening, what it's going to be like when it happens.
The end feeling, or is it, do you go through a process? Do you visualize like a moving picture, or is it still?
I'm not sure. It probably varies.
Well, you've experienced before. What was your experience?
It varies because I've done it with various people, various times, in various situations.
Is it moving or is it still?
I don't understand your question.
When you're visualizing, are you in the same position looking at something, or is it moving?
I don't understand your question.
I got you, Dr. Bay. That was a good one. So when you visualize something, you visualize the end of something. Is it in a picture format or is it a movie format?
Depending on what I'm visualizing.
Okay, so give us an example of something where it's still and something where it's moving.
Well, if I was visualizing this lady getting this school,
Mm-hmm.
it's not moving per se. It's a building sitting there. But if I visualize like I did uh, 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 one of the people in our neighborhood getting a trucking company, it was moving. I saw these trucks, them getting the trucks and being able to uh, uh, drive them and move. So it really depends on what you're visualizing.
Okay, so now let's talk about the feeling. Do you have different feelings, or is it pretty much the same feeling, which is love towards the achievement of the goal?
Well, that's a good question because I that varies also to what it is and how closely you identify with what the person is saying that you're visualizing.
Okay.
How closely can to me you should never visualize. You should not mastermind with somebody that don't want you to have. And I think of it this way: a chain is no stronger than its weakest link. It's like a battery. You can, if you got a five battery, well, let's start with a one battery flashlight. It'll come on. Two battery, it'll square itself. But even if you got a five light battery flashlight and you just turn one battery in that backwards, it won't come on. And so we got to realize that you got to mastermind with people that want you to have whatever it is you want to have. And different people will see it differently.
We agree, we agree. So putting that into a system, we would say you do it 2 times a day, every single day. So how would someone get into the habit of doing this every single day so they can make it happen every single way that they mastermind about it?
Well, they got to schedule themselves. That's one of the challenges. People got to learn to keep practice the 13th law and stop lying and do what they say they're going to do.
Okay. That's the law. That's the only thing they got to do, or one of them.
Yeah, one of them. They got to gain more knowledge about what it is they want to do and how to do it.
And so when we
See,
talk about, go ahead.
you 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 can't do anything if you don't know what to do.
So many
So
people. I
there's
was actually listening. We were doing some meditation the other day and came up with how the word insight is truly just that. You get the sight from the inside. You can see the path by going within. The path outside is the path of reflecting inside. And so it was interesting as we keep continuously thinking about this word insight. You know, why do you have that in the system? Why do you have insights? Why did you
well,
specifically use that word insights?
well, it is your thoughts and subsequent action that creates your world in every area, and your thoughts come from within you that motivates you to do your subsequent action that may embody you and a whole bunch of other people too.
Okay. So the word insights, Dr. Bay, we're talking about insight. Why did you name it insights? What specifically made you say, I'm going to use the word insights? What is about the word insight?
Spell the word.
INSIGHT.
Okay. The I, well, I don't know. I could spend a week on what that says altogether, but the I will tell me that I'm going to complete whatever it is. I see myself completing it. And of course, I'll just hop over to the H, and whatever it is going to create wealth and power.
Okay.
But all of the other things, the energy to do it is the N, and I could go on and on and on. And I'm just doing a drop in the bucket of what it is. That is a part of the type of training that I do.
Exactly. So we definitely got to get locked in and tapped in, as the young kids say, with Dr. Bay. Appreciate you for coming our way. And we're just going to continue to go about it today in the proper way, which is outside of the insights that you get from masterminding, because when you mastermind, things come to you. And so sometimes we didn't bring it up, but you could meditate after to allow your subsequent thoughts or the insights to come to you after you visualized other people's goals. Now let's talk about that, Dr. Bay, because this is a very profound subject to say that you could visualize someone else's goals and they could come out bigger and better for them because they didn't prepare for it. So is that a form of magic, or what law is that? And not necessarily your system's law, but what natural law in the public do people know that as, where they could visualize someone else's goal and it come out bigger and it actually happened?
Well, I don't know what law in the public, but the law in the 22nd law is the law that does it in the 22 laws.
Okay. 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 So, and you're still saying it has to do with the collective consciousness, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate that, Dr. Bay. It's something that a lot of people, they wonder, is it magic? But then they know how they hold collective thoughts that other people hold, and maybe they don't know. So we wanted to have that conversation today because it's about creating a system. How do you create a system of accountability? How do you create a business system?
Well, you got to stay away from people that think you can't do. If they say, "All right, that ain't gonna," Is what you're talking about. That's not the people that do good, because a train is no stronger than its weakest link. And if you dealing with a link that thinks you can't do, it's going to break the chain too. We got to
Okay,
realize how powerful the consciousness of our mind is, and what all you can do with it.
that's true. Okay, so but Dr. Bay, the thing about it is, and we haven't talked about it, it comes down to a few things, such as your thoughts and are you run by fear or are you run by faith? But Dr. Bay, as we delve into the word faith, faith is a very ambiguous thing. How do we measure faith? How do we put our hands and make faith tangible? What does faith tangibly look like, Dr. Bay? Because fear is false evidence appearing real. It's the unknown pictures. But what about the faithful pictures, Dr. Bay? What are those pictures supposed to look like so we can put them in and become more faithful in the mustard seed?
So it depends on what it is. That's too broad a subject to narrow it down to just da da da, because that would be painting an inaccurate picture.
What does faith look like in a tangible form?
Faith has the power to do a lot of things, because it is feeling, the inner feeling of it is you're going to put together a family of things that's going to be able to be completed through your leadership and your uniting of things that's going to create the wealth and power for you.
All right, here we go. Now, the faith, that's what faith looks like. The fear would be all the corrupt things, the unrighteous, the elements of that, correct?
Maybe or maybe not. It depends on what you categorize as fear. Someone asked me about some of the things that I do and said, well, are you, the reason I'm private even now is because of fear? People say it is, some of them say it ain't. I think it's because of good sense. Like the guy that suggested that, because I wasn't always private, the person that suggested that I go private reminded me of all these people that they say have been killed because they were doing something that is good and it would destroy other people's, whether it's people like Dr. Savior, Noble Kadar, or I could just go on and on.
So are you living in fear or faith?
I call myself more so living in faith than fear. I think I'm living with knowledge. I'm not afraid of fire. I'm not afraid of a mountain. But I know that if it's one side there and it's about 300 feet to the bottom or 500 feet to the bottom, that I'm not going to jump off this mountain because I got sense enough to know better. So you call it what you want to.
Right. So, Dr. Bay, here we go. You've never experienced the word fear before, have you, in your life?
Not that I remember.
Right.
I've never been in a fight in my life or any of that type of thing. I've
But
never
at the
smoked a
same,
cigarette. I've never drank a beer. I've never drank a glass of wine and all that type of stuff. And
okay,
somebody could say that's fear. No, that's out of proper knowledge, knowing that what you do manifests in you. One of our biggest problems as people on earth is that we're not acting out of proper knowledge. We don't realize that anytime you do anything that is anti-you, it turns you anti-yourself.
So why is it that people at this point in time feel like they have to read books in order to get the basic knowledge of what food to eat when it had the most highs cut us off from the internal knowledge of telling us how to live from within instead of living from
I don't
the
know what
book?
the I don't know what the Most High is.
You know what I mean, the creators from within.
Your
Why
ancestral food?
said yes, the ancestral pool. Has the ancestral pool abandoned us?
No, it may have united with us, but what did the ancestral pool think or feel? Just like I show people, like if I take a person to a spiritual rebirth, I can show them that whatever their father felt before they were ever conceived is affecting them today. And whatever their mother felt whilst carrying them is really affecting them today
But they can
because
get
they
rid of
were
those
connected.
blockages.
Sure. But most people don't even know that's what caused it or any of that. And that's the reason why uh, it needed to be done. They don't know that they have these anxieties and fears and all that type of thing, that they don't know why they feel the way they do. A lot of people worry a lot and don't realize that when their mother was carrying them, their mother was going through a lot of anxiety and tension and worry, and it transferred to them in the emotional aspects of them and all. There's just a whole bunch of things that it is not a da 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 type thing. It's a knowing, demonstrating, and showing type thing.
Right. Okay, Dr. Bay, we definitely appreciate you for helping us systematize the information so we can come together and utilize it together as well. Could you give us any departing words you'd like to leave us on this episode with?
Yeah, we need to have the knowledge that's necessary to do whatever it is we need to do, and we got to do whatever is love of thyself and not hating thyself. Do you love cigarettes but more so than you do you, or drugs, or alcohol, or anything? So, or even the wrong foods. You got to get where you love yourself the most and do what is the best for you and other people too.
You got to get to where you love yourself, Dr. Bay.
Yes.
What is love?
Love is a combination of communication, family, creating, master creating, and the energies thereof. Love has both the master spiritual energy in it and the master created energy in it. Communicating into the energy of our time, which is the energy of the problem solving and humanitarian aspect. But it's what you love, because if you love the wrong thing, it is very detrimental to you. It's just like this minister said. I was telling him that everything has a righteous and an unrighteous side, and he said, "No, no, no, it doesn't." I said, "What doesn't have an unrighteous side to it?" He said, "Love don't have an unrighteous side to it." I said, "Well, then answer this for me. If love don't have an unrighteous side to it, what does most people do that cause them to do the things that's wrong for them and other people too? It's what they love. Whether it's taking advantage of somebody or cheating on somebody or taking something that belongs, they love cigarettes or love eating the wrong food, on and on and on. Love can be very detrimental. And he said, "Wow, I never thought about that. You're right." Because love is the energy of habit.
Is okay, okay. So it's our habits that we end up falling in love with, or are we in love with the habit before we have it?
No, you form habits by doing something over and over again.
Hmm. Well, appreciate you, Dr. Bay, for coming on and sharing this information today and checking in with us, and really looking forward to get some people enrolled in the system. Look forward to hearing from you all. Christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian@trustchristian.com. Feel free to reach out and get a full consultation with Dr. Bay. Come on in, come our way, learn from Dr. Bay so you can have your family learned up on his knowledge as well today. Peace and lessons. Peace and joy.